Um, Thank you, Lacey and Maria, in this case, and hello, everybody. Before we can jump into the rest of the webinar, let me briefly introduce ezTagile. For those of you who don't know, we're a full Agile solutions firm founded in 2016 and located in Research Triangle Park in North Carolina. We provide a full range of support to our clients, but in a nutshell, we are all about Atlassian services, business agility, and Agile solutions. As some of you are already aware, we are an Atlassian Silver Solutions partner. So whether you're looking for consulting, dealing with a project, moving to the cloud and needing support, or you're just looking for a license, we can help. We offer a range of accredited services, applications, integrations, and customized solutions to expand the power of your business. Advanced Roadmaps, which Jackie will cover today, is an Atlassian tooling feature. A list of the different tools that we can help with are also available on your screen. However, if you want to learn more about us, or if you just have any questions, please visit us at ezTagile.com. Lastly, it is an honor for me to introduce Jackie Owino, the perfect person to speak to us all about advanced roadmaps. Jackie is a Principal Atlassian Engineer and DevOps Solution Architect here at ezTagile with more than 20 years of experience in IT. She is a renowned leader and coach for organizations adopting Agile frameworks and tools. With her extensive knowledge and kind demeanor, we can all learn something from her. If interested, you can connect with Jackie on LinkedIn. And Jackie, thank you for your time preparing this presentation. We know you're super busy and we value your time. I think we're ready to pass it off to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Alex, Lacey, and Maria for all the wonderful support getting this webinar organized. I'll take a few minutes to transition and turn off my camera so that we can start the presentation. One moment, please. Hopefully you can all see my screen. Okay, happy Friday to everyone. It's an honor today to be able to share some of the great capabilities that Atlassian is delivering in their current products that support all teams across the enterprise. I've worked with Advanced Roadmaps, formerly known as Portfolio for Jira, since it was acquired about 3 to 4 years ago. There have been some phenomenal changes being continuously introduced, and I'm excited to share some of those features today with you. I acknowledge that they're still building out some of the functionality in the new interface. That's a simpler integration to Jira software. So I'm looking forward to more to come. Whether you're a new product owner or an experienced product manager who hasn't built a roadmap in a while, we know this undertaking can be so overwhelming. Product roadmaps fail more often than you might realize because they can be difficult to create and maintain properly. Today, I will be focusing on how we can successfully set up a roadmap using Advanced Roadmap, a Jira Software Premium feature that's designed to help multiple teams collaborate together, track the big picture, and identify dependencies across large pieces of work. The 3 key points I'll be addressing are the process of creating the roadmap, how to visualize and understand dependencies, and to facilitate discussion of options using scenario planning. But before I do that, a quick poll for us to help us understand how to manage your initiatives. Alex, thank you. If you could please help us with understanding how you track your strategic initiatives as well as your strategic goals, that would be great. Give us a couple minutes. Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so we do see that a lot of people are tracking their initiatives in spreadsheets, as well as SharePoint, and a few are actually using Jira Line, so that's great. Okay. So a roadmap is a plan of action for how a product or solution will evolve over time. In an article published by McKinsey in 2015, it states that companies who want to achieve agility in planning can combine both elements that promote both stability and dynamism, and the dynamism coming to referring to speed and flexibility. The elements that lead stability to agile planning are setting clear strategic priorities and defining closely related objectives for teams to align on. I could not agree more, and can certainly speak to how we can achieve this when using advanced roadmaps. To build an effective roadmap, you need to determine your audience and tailor the roadmap to resonate with them. On the slide that I'm showing right now, there are examples of 4 different roadmaps. You can have a development team roadmap that may cover only one product, or you might have a larger view that covers multiple products. You can also have a product that spans multiple teams or multiple products. And you can then choose to emphasize a customer need or a specific theme. The first steps for creating a good roadmap is more administrative and targeted towards establishing a single source of truth. From the poll we just took, it's evidently clear that a lot of the strategic initiatives are tracked in spreadsheets that might not necessarily have any traceability into the execution being done in the team's backlogs. The items on the left speak to the foundational building blocks, while items on the right are focused on configuring, managing, and sharing your roadmap. The first step is understanding your current state, then converging on certain foundational blocks in Jira software so you can then transition your work there. That's more of a one-time effort, and it's definitely something that you would revisit infrequently. I will go into more details in the upcoming slides. My recommendation is to take an evolutionary approach by starting where you are and building in complexity over time. The survey shows that people are using a variety of methods. So one of the key things is bringing all those initiatives, all that documentation together and putting it in a spreadsheet so that it can then be uploaded into Jira. The most important thing is first to understand where you are and then where you want to be in future. As you're attending this session, I imagine the future is having what you currently have in place translate into an effective and powerful digital roadmap. Take stock of where your strategic initiatives and goals are documented and managed. Understand what kinds of contextual information is important for your organization so that you correctly configure schemes, fields, and labels in Jira to support it. This will also drive what types of reports and metrics you can generate in future. There are a couple of questions that I highlight up here, and those are just but a few, but it helps to establish your current state. One of the first decisions you need to converge on is how to define your work. And different organizations, of course, manage their work differently. They may have different terminology. Some organizations have embraced scale agile frameworks that are more prescriptive about terminology, while others may still be in a bimodal world, straddling between traditional project management versus agile product management. In this picture, we reflect an examples of issues being managed in the portfolio, program, and team level. From a team level in Jira software, we make available epics, stories, and tasks by default. Advanced roadmaps then allows the organization to manage items above the team. In this example, we have one level of hierarchy and the actual items are called initiatives. We do have a recommendation, and that's something that you would have to discuss within the organization of how long are initiatives. In general, epics should be 1 to 3 months of duration. And for stories, of course, those need to fit into a sprint. So ideally, less than 5 days or less than 8 days if you're doing sprints. Consistent foundational building blocks are important because they will allow you to have a single view and be able to talk the same language. What's also important to understand is the parent-child relationship or the relationship for attributes. In this case, only a single epic can only have, an epic can have a single parent only in this case, and you can use themes to cut across epics or initiatives. So a theme would be an attribute in this case. The next foundational block is really getting ready to build your scheme. Yeah. You get ready, you have the right schemes in place, you create and refresh your Jira projects as needed with the standardized schemes, configure the hierarchy in advanced roadmaps to what you've agreed upon, and get ready to create your plan. So now we are ready to help Jim from the Wild Travel Solution create his plan. Jim was recently hired as a new PO for the Wild Travel Solutions company that is developing travel applications for AAA. He's been using his basic roadmap functionality on his team's Jira project, but finds it difficult to see all the work that's happening across all other teams that are involved in the next major release. He has heard about how easy it is to use advanced roadmap and decides to try it out. He takes the time to document all the active team projects and their active boards. And then he creates his plan. It takes less than 5 minutes. He first pulls all the initiatives that he has that are documented in the portfolio Kanban board. So in this case, there's a single Jira project that holds all the initiatives. Yeah. He then adds on the boards for the iOS team, the Android team, the platform team, and a couple of other teams, supporting teams. He understands that when he pulls in a Scrum board instead of a project or filter, it allows the information about the team velocity and the sprint time boxes into the plan. This feature will allow you to plan better over time. As soon as he hits done, okay, so there's one more thing actually. There's the ability to exclude items as part of the plan. By default, it's set as all items that were completed 30 days or later will not be pulled into the plan. You can change that if you want to longer to a quarter time period. Okay. So now Jim has an up and running roadmap. He can see all the initiatives that have been entered into the strategic portfolio Jira project. Yeah, he also sees that there are 15 old initiatives that he's not familiar with. And so he has a meeting with Anne, the Director of Product Management, and asks her to look into what needs to be updated and prioritized correctly. She lets him know that she will be reviewing the list with the executive management, and he should focus on scheduling the program level epics and associated stories until she gets back to him. So in this case, you have the ability to drop down a level from initiative into epic level and just focus on the epics. So you can also see that he has the ability to create epics on the fly, write in the plan, and then push them into Jira. Jim's very excited because he can at a glance look at trip management and generally all the work that the team has done, and he can see that they are broken out consistently. Okay, he's impressed at how the iOS team has broken down all the epics into features that he can easily communicate progress over time. He then switches his focus to mapping the work to time boxes. Jim converges all the fields right here so that he can be able to look at the timeline more clearly. He can be able to zoom in into more of a 3-month period or zoom out to a 1-year period. He can also customize and look at a larger or smaller period of his choice. Clicking fit will just fit all the current initiatives that have been scheduled within a certain amount of time. It will just fit them into that specific timeline or time box. He can see all the stories that have been scheduled to the appropriate timelines right here. So all these stories would actually be scheduled depending on what sprint that they are aligned with. He can then also see that the timelines roll up and reflect on the overall timeline of the epic. What's very interesting is that he can also look at each of the epics right here and have a view of all the dependencies that are reliant, that the team is reliant on getting the new API access point mobile optimized. It's a really important view and a great view to have a conversation with in this case, we have 2 iOS blockers and 1 blocker for the Android team that, of course, has a lead time of 29 days. Anne gets back with Jim on the priorities and informs him that he'll be key in doing some market research on a new initiative to support some Disney locations. He immediately enters that initiative into the advanced roadmaps. This allows you to actually update your roadmap and keep it updated, basically on demand. So instead of entering into a spreadsheet and transferring, you can immediately enter it into advanced roadmap and enter any additional information that you want to capture about that new initiative. He has also been informed that there's a major blocker with integrating partner travel sites. And so team travel is now considered second in priority. So with just a drag and drop, he can change the priority of the initiative to match what has been communicated. Jim can also switch down to 1 level to look at the epic level as a product owner. And he has the ability to group the items by team. He can also filter the work by releases and observe if some of the releases need to be refined. Some of the epics need to be refined a little bit more. So this is a very great view to look at what is the work that each team is doing and how is it prioritized. You can also see the progress of the work and how it has been slotted in terms of timelines. As part of his job, Jim has to make sure that all the stories align with specific epics. If there are any orphan stories, he can very easily see them right at the bottom of the epics, and he can quickly associate or let the Scrum Master know of the specific team, like for the web team, that they have stories that are orphaned and need to be aligned with specific epics. Now, he's been wondering what certain indicators look, warning signs. When he clicks onto the warning center, he can have a little bit more detail on how to correct these warnings. For example, there are 2 warnings on the fact that a child issue starts before its parent issue. So he can immediately correct that by aligning those dates. Yeah. So there are several warnings that would help a product owner or Scrum Master actually refine and make the roadmap more accurate. All product owners within the product management team can have a view into all the releases. They can have a view into just specific releases, or what we call fixed versions in Jira, or they can also create a cross-project release that will cover work across 2 or more teams. You can also have an indicator of if a release is off track based on the fact that the team's velocity and the fact that there might be a date that's like, for example, this date is December 20th, so it's definitely off track. Yeah, the release date was December 20th and still have several issues to be done. So part of actually using and sharing a roadmap is actually to use it when facilitating conversations with stakeholders, when you're facilitating release or PI planning, or just on a daily basis to inform teams of their contribution to their organizational goals. There are several ways you can share the roadmap. One is just by driving people to the actual advanced roadmap. Yeah. What's important is to understand how you can educate people on how to see the things that they're interested in. In this case, you can group by project, you can group by team, or you can group by release. Yeah. You can, in this case, I've selected release, and it shows that we have the iOS beta release. We also have several releases. Just wanted to point out, for those people who are using Scaled Agile Framework, you can also align your releases to the program increments. So it has that ability to map them into the program increments. The whole product team can filter in by whatever options they're interested in, whether it's across teams or across projects in a single place, and see how they connect. You can also see what's extremely, one of my favorite is actually looking across the items that have dependencies, but you have several options In addition to that, if you have themes that you have documented and added as custom fields in Jira, you can filter by those themes. And talking about themes, when we look at this roadmap, what I've introduced is a custom field called theme. And the options are, it's a multi-select field, and you can associate each of the epics or stories and roll them up into the initiative. In this case, you can clearly see that notifications is doing work towards improving the customer experience and also security work. You also have the ability to create views that are specific to different audiences. The views give additional on-demand views that product owners and Scrum Masters can use to support PI or release planning. It's important that you embed the use of digital artifacts in the team, program, and portfolio level ceremonies and rituals. So this is definitely a way to do that. You can also see at the top the ability to share, and there you have the ability to share a link or to share an embedded roadmap that you can then expose into Confluence. So sharing in Confluence, this is a picture of what it could look like. You have the ability to expose different charts. So a two-dimensional chart on the right-hand side that shows the spread of the themes across your backlog. And on the right-hand side, a pie chart that basically shows the same thing. On the bottom, you have a view of the roadmap by development team, and you can clearly see what's in progress as well as the timelines. Now, Agile assumes that teams have everything they need to deliver an increment of work. In an ideal world, we could have cross-functional teams with all the know-how and permissions to build, test, and deploy a product end-to-end. However, this is not always possible, at least not immediately. In the meantime, we can adopt strategies to mitigate the effects of external dependencies while working in the background to break them. Dependency management can drive better decision-making, increase agility, and reduce waste across lean agile teams. I will now show you a few views that can help you manage your dependencies. On a roadmap view, Jim and Anne, the Scrum Master of the platform team, work closely together on mapping dependencies. They can look at the timelines right here and view the badges on either ends of the schedule, this icon right here. The badges on the right show incoming dependencies, while the badges on the left show outgoing dependencies. When you click on the actual dependency, you can see what it is, and you can see the lead time to getting it done. In addition to that, this is a powerful view that Anne uses when facilitating PI or release planning. She takes the time to quickly filter out the dependencies that are present in the current initiatives so that she's prepared to speak on whether the platform team can meet them or not. The third way of actually looking at dependencies and having conversations around them is the dependency report. You can see that you can look at it on different levels as the roadmap. So you can look at it at an initiative level, at an epic level, or at a team level. Yeah, and look at it at a story level. So I found this view extremely powerful because you can immediately see that a lot of the teams have dependencies on the platform team. Yeah. So one of the items you, of course, discuss with Anne is, okay, if Anne was to say, okay, I have all these dependencies and I'm working towards them, but I'm understaffed. So one of the things would be maybe to have additional people hired on to help the development team, or you could look at the functionality that is being built out and have an indication of what needs to be deprioritized so that other work can get done. You can also go a little further and look at the story view, but it offers the same insights as well. Now, everything is going as planned. The plan looks good. Teams are working well to meet all the release timelines, and everyone is pacing themselves to an amazing quarter. Then COVID hits and throws a major wrench in the travel business. So let's see how we can try and manage a few scenarios and talk to what are the things that we can do when a disruption happens in the project. I'm going to go off presentation mode and talk about scenarios. Advanced roadmaps allows you to create best or worst scenarios, or whatever scenarios you might want to discuss. And then at the point when you're ready, you can actually push it into the actual plan. So I'm actually going to show an example of that. So this is my roadmap plan. I can actually see all the initiatives. I can look at the travel mobile apps initiative, and I can see that the work is progressing well. Now we have there was definitely an impact because of COVID. And at this point, we need to understand what needs to, we need to pause on some items. So what you would do is you can create a scenario. It's basically a copy of what you have right now. You could choose a color, let's just say orange. Okay, so right now you have a copy of your current plan, and what you can then go and look at and say, okay, we have this that's really far out. I'd like to understand why, if we can possibly pull that in, okay? And so you look at this and you say, okay, maybe we do not need to align this. We can actually break this out and push it out further. Maybe break this out into two different epics. So in this case, or you could have another team take the epics and run parallel to that. So if that was the case, what you do is you'd assign those items to a different team. Yeah. At that point, you can actually pull in that. So this is more of a, I guess, best case scenario. You'd review the changes and then you'd actually save them in Jira. So as you do this, this is something that you can have a discussion with the product owners of these specific teams, yeah? Is how do you want to influence this plan? Yeah, at the point where you feel you have a good plan, you can then go in and manage your scenarios. Okay, what you do is disable, and whatever plan you feel, in this case, fits what you've decided on as a team, you would take that, and that would now be your main plan. So you're back to square one. You have just a single plan right now, and that is exactly what you do to get more of a, a plan and talk about the different scenarios. So I'm gonna go back into so today we've covered how to create an effective digital roadmap that is a single source of truth. We have covered how Jim gained visibility across each of his teams, projects, and products in a single place, and how they're all connected. We've also covered how to align work with specific teams. Lastly, we've covered managing dependencies and using scenarios to drive dialogue about decision-making. Thank you so much for your time. We'll now ask the audience to participate in a short survey before we go into Q&A. Okay, Alex, do you have the survey?
Yes, thank you. The survey is available in the chat box. You should just be able to click the link, and it's very short. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. I will then pass it on to Lacey.
Thank you, Jackie. Yeah, so as everyone's wrapping up their surveys, I'm happy to share that in honor of June being Pride Month, we are hosting a webinar on June 11th, same time, so 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This webinar will be set up kind of differently. Again, it'll be a fireside chat titled Courageous, and it's an opportunity for us to talk about inclusivity and ways we can improve it in regard to the LGBTQ community. We're thrilled to have Mary Thorne, VP of IT Strategy and Transformation, as the lead speaker at this webinar. You can RSVP on our website by going to the webinars tab and Courage, which is the second link under that tab. As we transition into the Q&A, remember to utilize the Zoom features and keep in mind that if we don't get to your question, again, we'll share it in a blog. Now I'll pass it back to Alex and Jackie for the Q&A.
So can you let us know why I would choose Jira Align over advanced roadmaps? And more specifically, why you would pay extra for Jira Align?
Well, Jira Align is actually to support large enterprises. So I would say that for advanced roadmaps, it's, it supports more of 50, 10 to 50 teams. If you're going more of the hundreds and thousands, I think it's definitely something that to invest in Jira Align, yeah. But I do see organizations that still use both Jira Align and advanced roadmaps, because advanced roadmaps is something that you can use on a program level or as just within smaller pockets of work.
Thank you, Jackie. We have lots of questions. Another one I'll pull out is from Corey Hutchinson. Is there a time dimension on the dependency report to replicate the safe PI string board?
So I'm gonna pause, and I would say that that's probably something that I need to address outside. I just probably need a little bit more information to research. So that is something that I definitely can get back to you. So good to see you, Corey. I can definitely look at how you can address that and get back to you on that.
Great. John Leonard wants to know if you can explain a little more about the differences between Align and roadmaps.
Okay. So Jira Align, as I said before, is of course, first it has a higher price point. It's the last I checked was about 75 per person in general. So of course, it's geared towards large portfolio management. So if you have, several large portfolios or business units, I think it's definitely the product to use. Advanced Roadmaps comes with Jira Software Premium. It's integrated very closely with Jira Software right now. And as a team that's slowly maturing, I would say the best option is start with Advanced Roadmaps. And as the organization grows and you feel the need to look at a larger view, then maybe Jira Align is something that you want to, to invest in.
Great. And I think we should have time for maybe one more question. There's a question from Gary Fitzgerald. It's, what are reasons to have themes or custom fields versus another hierarchy level? I liked the charts and tables.
So okay, I would actually pass this on to Camille. I'd like to go ahead, Camille.
Oh, is Camille?
Okay, maybe that's, I'm not sure why it says Camille would like to answer this question, but I would say in terms of hierarchy, what you'll find is if you choose a theme as a hierarchy level, only, you can have one initiative go into, several initiatives going into the theme. But if you would choose it as a custom field or an attribute, you can have different levels of like stories and epics, and across different initiatives, as well as across different levels of work, like epics. So it gives a different view.
Great, thank you so much, Jackie. I think we are going to close up now because we're getting to the end and we'd like to respect everybody's time. I'd like to thank you all again for joining us today. It's been wonderful having you, and we hope our webinar was educational and engaging. If you have any more questions for us, or you are welcome to visit our website or reach out to us at our office number. We also do have that upcoming webinar that you guys are very welcome to attend. So thank you again and have a great weekend.